This is exciting because this is an eventuality, in my opinion. It's going to happen, and my generation will probably be the one who actually sees it through. So my name is Gajan and I'm a third-year student studying the Bachelor of Philosophy, and I've recently undertaken a research project regarding space and the moon with Rod. Ever since we could see the stars in the night sky, travelling to and beyond them seemed like nothing more than a dream. As time progresses, this dream is becoming more and more like an eventuality. As a species, humanity have achieved the unthinkable and developed the capability to leave the planet Earth. It all began with the first telescopic observation of the night sky by Galileo in the year 1610. This undoubtedly inspired the Wright brothers, who then went on to invent the airplane. Eventually, a lot of steps were made, and finally, in July of 1969, the first humans stepped on the moon. As impressive as this feat was, it only begged the question, where can we go from here? We want to eventually colonize other planets, right? We want to go to the stars and beyond. And to do that, we need to essentially use a lot of rockets and a lot of rocket fuel. And the best way to minimize the costs, I guess, of this rocket fuel that's required is to launch from the moon itself. And rather than launching from the Earth to the moon and then proceeding from there, we might as well just build the rockets on the moon and launch from there. So to do that, we need infrastructure on the moon, or essentially a lunar base, and that's what I looked at, the feasibility of how this lunar base would come to be. Another issue of living on the moon is the variation in temperature over the course of the lunar day. When the sun is out, temperatures can reach about 127 degrees Celsius, and when the sun's gone, we can drop to about negative 173 degrees Celsius. Well, I found that it's definitely going to be a challenge, putting a person in space. That's been done. But the interesting part is keeping them alive on the moon, where we have really no atmosphere. And I guess the resources required. And also it's quite interesting when you look at taking advantages of resources of these extraterrestrial planets, because that's what we're eventually going to have to do. It's not really feasible taking things from Earth every time you need something, right? So you're going to have to use what you have and make do. What about when the sun goes down? How do we get power then? All these problems arise due to the fact that solar power is not always available. What if it was? There are certain regions of the moon near the north and southern poles where there exist peaks of eternal light. These peaks of eternal light are highland regions that receive sunlight virtually all the time. The axes on the right determine how often they receive sunlight, with 100% being all the time. So being able to choose a habitat and placing it near one of these regions of eternal light seems very beneficial for our cause. There is less need for energy storage devices, and the period of darkness is obviously lesser because there is a lot more sunlight for this particular region. All in all, this provides an entropically favorable situation for us. These examples are of a radius of about 30 kilometers away from the North Pole. Most controversial, I guess, would be the fact that NASA has found water ice on the moon. They've reportedly observed these infrared spectra, which is unique to H2O. There's a lot of uncertainty about whether this is actually water ice due to the sublimation that occurs in vacuum. of water ice. But if it is there, it's it's quite beneficial for us because it allows us to harvest this water sometime in the future. And it also leads to the question of whether this could happen on other planets as well. Because if it's occurring on the moon where there's a vacuum, with other planets with atmospheres, there should be pretty high chances, right? That allows for another level of, I guess, independence. These colonies can be more self-reliant rather than relying on technology and resources from the Earth. They can go ahead and prosper on other planets by themselves. This is an eventuality, in my opinion. It's going to happen. And my generation will probably be the one who actually sees it through. So since I'm starting off, essentially laying some kind of groundwork for it, I might possibly be in the future leading some kind of research or maybe even the deployment of this scenario. So I'm actually quite interested to see where this goes. Yeah.